Cafe Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, startups, authors, business experts throughout the world. Available on all major podcast platforms. I'm Tom Riak, an American known as the King of Networking, connecting people and speaking from my studio in Vinhedo, São Paulo, Brazil. And today we talk with Tricia Roos, and she's joining us from Dallas, Texas. Tricia Roos is a motivational speaker, consultant, and author of When Wishes Change, a book about how her wish for a healthy baby girl changed into something more beautiful than she could have ever dreamed. A lesson of allowing your wishes to change transcends the loss of a child. Tricia, what are some of the ways that someone can help a friend deal with grief?
Hey, Tom, thank you so much for having me. That's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people really struggle with. And so my story really is about losing a child, but the book is a lot more than that. It's about how we pivot when our wishes change. So when you wish and dream for something your whole life and it's not how you planned it, how do you deal with that? And so for me specifically, it was about having a child that I was told would not be able to survive. And so a few things that I learned, my key takeaways during that experience were making sure that I surrounded myself with positive people that would encourage me and just really the way that I wanted to handle it to help me to get through the situation. And so through really networking, I found other moms just like me that were in a similar situation to talk with, to email with, and just to correspond with so that I kind of knew how to prepare for the situation a little bit better. And then another thing for me, my background is I'm a volleyball coach. And in coaching, we teach our athletes to fight till the end, no matter what.
Right.
So even in a hard battle, if you know that you may lose to your opponent, you just keep fighting. And I think for me, it really took some power within to coach myself up, to figure out a way how to survive it. And because of that coaching and because of my relationships with others and staying around really positive people, my daughter ended up living 6 days when I was told that she couldn't even live for one breath. And although it ends in tragedy where she passes away, I think the lesson there is that, you know, when we give our all, we don't have regret.
Right.
And we feel like we can accomplish way more than we ever thought.
I think the points that you make, I think, are fantastic because grief comes in many forms. Obviously, you've lost a child, and that's tough to bear. But today we're surrounded by grief, unfortunately. But what I hear you saying is even from the beginning, and as a coach, you created your own team. And as we reach out to other people who have gone through, are in the middle of similar experiences, whatever they are, you join forces and you come out stronger, I think.
Yeah, and I think the book for me, I wanted it to be much bigger than my story. I wanted it to be just motivational and inspirational for anyone going through major changes. So even if you haven't lost a child or have the same story as I did, there's a lot of parallels to maybe a job change or losing another loved one. And the book is really vulnerable. Like it lets you know that I was mad, I was sad, I was frustrated. But through every single one of those really hard days, I picked myself up again. I surrounded myself with people to encourage me, and I kept fighting. And so I think that's important for people to understand too, is that it's okay not to be okay and to feel the anger and the heartbreak and the pain. But then you've got to be able to look up and keep going and find ways to stay motivated and inspired so that you can conquer whatever trial you're going through.
And reach out to others. Because many times grief, we keep it to ourselves. It's something we harbor, and that could lead to even further problems. So sharing grief is part of the healing process, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and there's always somebody that's gone through something that you're going through. So many people within grief feel really isolated because they think no one will understand me.
Right.
But nowadays, you can, through podcasts and through books and through Facebook groups, you can find people that are going through the same situation or very similar to you that you can connect with. And I feel like as soon as you start making those connections, it's just much easier to see hope and kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, because you're able to have someone else understand you better.
Well, you went through that. Even as we know, every day things change. Things become better. There's new resources. You heard early on that your child would probably not live, but it did. 6 days are 6 days of life. 6 days of maybe suffering, but personal enjoyment for having had the child.
Yeah, and that was another thing. I mean, I never felt like she suffered. She was very content. She was happy. We got to introduce her to all of our family and hold her and be with her and just do everything we could to take care of her until she passed away. And I just know for me, I have no regrets over our decision to continue the pregnancy and to have that opportunity to meet her. And I think that resilience and perseverance and hope has led me through a lot of other trials in my life since then.
Oh, very good. And you're a beacon for others out there. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for being part. We're coming to the end of our time. But thanks again, and I'm sure we'll be back and talking more in the future.
Yes, and I'd love for people to find me on my website, whenwisheschange.com, or search for the book on Amazon or anywhere else you purchase your books, because I think it can really be helpful to a lot of people.
Very good. So thanks again. And reminding our audience, and again, the information about Tricia Roos, and it's Tricia, Tricia, and the last name is Roos. Find her on LinkedIn, and as she mentioned, the successful book, When Wishes Change, on Amazon, and her site, whenwisheschange.com. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on their website, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.